basement of the old house that Cecilia inherited from her grandparents had always been off limits to her. They had warned her countless times, "Stay away from the basement, Cecilia." However, now that they were no longer around, her curiosity got the better of her. She couldn't resist the urge to finally uncover the secrets hidden within that mysterious part of the house. As she slowly opened the basement door, it let out a haunting creak, revealing a narrow staircase that seemed to descend into an abyss of darkness. A shiver ran down Cecilia's spine, but she gathered her courage and switched on the flashlight. The beam of light pierced through the thick gloom, illuminating the swirling cobwebs and dancing dust particles in the air. The musty scent of damp earth and mildew filled her nostrils, assaulting her senses. With each step she took, the stairs groaned under her weight, their eerie creaks echoing ominously in the silence. Finally reaching the bottom, the flashlight's beam revealed a cluttered expanse filled with ancient furniture, trunks, and boxes, all covered in layers of dust accumulated over decades. In one corner stood an ancient furnace, its rusted frame resembling a skeletal sentinel guarding the secrets of the basement. Cecilia couldn't tear her gaze away from the grand mirror propped up against the distant wall. The ornate frame, adorned with intricate serpentine patterns, contrasted with the aged cloudy glass. Moving closer, her flashlight struggled against an unseen resistance, flickering as she reached out to touch the cold surface. A surge of electricity coursed through her as the mirror's reflection momentarily shifted to reveal a shadowy figure behind her. Startled, she whirled around to find nothing but the basement's oppressive darkness. Heart racing, she turned back to the mirror, only to see the sinister figure still present, its eyes glowing malevolently. Stepping back, her flashlight failed, leaving her in complete darkness. With trembling hands, she relied on her phone's faint glow to find her way back to safety. As she rushed up the staircase, a chilling hand grasped her ankle. She let out a piercing scream and thrashed around, but the grip only grew stronger, yanking her downwards. Desperately, she clawed at the steps, attempting to break free, but her efforts were futile. The engulfing darkness enveloped her entirely. Upon regaining consciousness, she found herself sprawled on the icy, moist floor of the basement. Directly in front of her stood a mirror, its reflection rippling like water. Struggling to rise, she felt an immense weight on her body, as if an unseen force was pushing her down. Fixated on the mirror, she was met with a distorted, malevolent version of herself, with sunken eyes and a twisted grin. The reflection spoke in a chilling whisper, "You should not have ventured down here, Cecilia," sending shivers down her spine. Suddenly, the mirror shattered into pieces, shards flying in all directions and embedding themselves in the walls. The oppressive force lifted, allowing Cecilia to scramble to her feet. She sprinted up the stairs, slamming the door shut and leaning against it, her heart pounding in her chest as she tried to catch her breath, her thoughts racing. After those initial weeks, Cecilia made a conscious effort to steer clear of the basement. However, as night fell, an eerie phenomenon unfolded. Faint whispers managed to seep through the creaky floorboards, calling out her name. The unsettling occurrences didn't stop there. Occasionally, when she glanced into her bathroom mirror, the reflection staring back at her would morph into a twisted, malevolent version of herself. No matter where she sought refuge, an unshakable presence loomed, constantly observing, forever waiting. It dawned on Cecilia, albeit too late, that certain secrets were better left undisturbed, and some doors were never meant to be pried open. The basement had claimed its sinister prize, and it was only a matter of time before it would come knocking on her door once more. Since childhood, I had been warned to steer clear of the basement by my parents, their words laced with an air of caution and mystery. "It's not safe," my mother would repeat, while my father would simply instruct, "Just don't go down there." Despite my compliance in my younger years, the allure of the unknown eventually beckoned me. One rainy day with my parents away, I seized the opportunity to unravel the enigma. After discovering the concealed iron key in my father's desk, I made my way to the basement door, my heart pounding with a mix of trepidation and excitement. As I turned the key, the lock gave way with a resounding click, the sound reverberating through the silent house. With a creak, the door swung open, unveiling a dimly lit staircase leading into the depths below. A musty smell filled the air, causing me to wrinkle my nose in distaste. Flicking on the flashlight, I watched as the beam pierced through the darkness, illuminating the unknown. Steeling myself, I took a deep breath and began my descent into the shadows. The wooden staircase let out a loud groan with every step I took, sending shivers down my spine. At the foot of the stairs, the beam of my flashlight illuminated a spacious, cluttered room. Dusty furniture, old boxes, and mysterious ancient tools were strewn about haphazardly. In a dimly lit corner, an ancient armchair faced a dusty television screen, casting an eerie glow. As I ventured further into the room, a sense of unease began to settle in the pit of my stomach. There was an unsettling aura surrounding this place, a feeling that I couldn't quite shake. My curiosity led me to an intricately designed cabinet tucked away in the corner, its doors slightly ajar. Inside, a collection of dusty books and peculiar trinkets awaited my discovery. Among the items, one particular book caught my attention. The cover was weathered leather, bound with a rusty clasp. With trembling hands, I opened the book, revealing pages filled with cryptic symbols and handwritten notes. As I delved deeper into the contents, a loose page slipped out and landed at my feet. I picked it up, my eyes scanning the ominous message scrawled in faded ink. The gateway must remain sealed. Do not let it out. The basement was suddenly engulfed in an icy breeze, causing the temperature to plummet. I exhaled, watching as my breath formed frosty clouds in the air. Startled, I spun around, only to see the flashlight flickering, casting eerie and unpredictable shadows on the walls. Panic washed over me as the light abruptly vanished, leaving me in complete darkness. Desperately, I groped for my phone, relying on its feeble glow to guide me. But as I did, I couldn't help but notice a sinister movement lurking within the shadows. Something slithered and scraped against the cold, hard floor. My heart raced as I instinctively backed away, the faint light from my phone barely penetrating the suffocating blackness. Suddenly, a deep, guttural growl reverberated through the basement, sending a chilling sensation down my spine. Without hesitation, I turned and sprinted, my footsteps echoing loudly as the growl intensified, growing more menacing with each passing second. I stumbled on the steps, narrowly avoiding a fall, and scrambled up the staircase. Finally, I reached the top, slamming the door shut behind me and tremblingly locking it, hoping to keep whatever lurked in the darkness at bay. Gasping for breath, I pressed my weight against the door, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound of scratching, like sharp claws scraping against the wooden surface, sent shivers down my spine. A chilling whisper pierced the air, freezing me to the core. You cannot confine me forever. That very night, I mustered the courage to reveal the terrifying encounter to my parents. As they exchanged concerned glances, my father finally broke the silence. His voice barely above a whisper, he confessed, "We did everything we could to shield you from harm." With a heavy heart, they secured the basement door with chains and padlocks, hoping to contain the malevolence within. However, deep down I knew it was merely a temporary solution. The haunting whispers continued to torment my dreams, and I couldn't shake the feeling that one day the darkness would inevitably escape its confines. Gary and Irene found themselves in the basement of their old house during a rainy afternoon, the storm intensifying the eerie atmosphere with every creak and groan. The cluttered space was filled with forgotten boxes and furniture, creating long shadows in the dim light as they played hide-and-seek. While exploring, Irene stumbled upon a mysterious old wooden door hidden behind dusty crates, a discovery that piqued both her curiosity and fear. She called out to Gary, who rushed over to see what she had found, his eyes widening in astonishment at the sight of the weathered door. As they debated whether to open it, Irene's heart raced with anticipation, while Gary's curiosity ultimately won out. With a shared sense of trepidation and excitement, they decided to unlock the secrets that lay beyond the mysterious door. With a spine-chilling creak, the door swung open under Gary's grasp, revealing a dimly lit, narrow staircase that descended into the depths of the unknown. A chilly gust of air wafted up from below, carrying a musty scent that sent shivers down their spines. The siblings exchanged anxious glances before summoning the courage to step through the threshold. As they made their way down the stairs, the darkness seemed to envelop them, suffocating their senses. The familiar basement they once knew faded into oblivion, replaced by a nightmarish realm of twisted horrors. The walls were adorned with writhing, blackened vines that pulsated with a life of their own. A faint, otherworldly glow emanated from an unidentifiable source, casting eerie shadows that danced and flickered in a macabre ballet. "Gary, I'm terrified," Irene whispered, her grip tightening around her brother's hand. "I am too," Gary confessed, his voice quivering with fear. "But we can't turn back now. We must press on and find a way out of this nightmare." Moving forward, their steps reverberated in the eerie quietness that surrounded them. As they ventured deeper, the environment seemed to warp and distort around them. The ground they trod upon felt sticky and unsteady, akin to walking on a pulsating living entity. Whispers permeated the air, filled with an incomprehensible malevolence. Suddenly, a menacing growl emanated from the shadows up ahead. A set of crimson, glowing eyes materialized, fixating on them with a predatory hunger that sent shivers down their spines. "Quick, run!" Gary exclaimed, tugging Irene as they dashed along the convoluted path. The creature pursued them, its weighty footfalls causing the earth to tremble. The siblings could sense its labored breathing drawing near, the foul warmth of its breath brushing against their napes. Just when they felt they could go no further, a faint glimmer of light appeared in the distance. "There!" Irene exclaimed, pointing ahead. "The door!" With a burst of newfound energy, they sprinted towards the door and flung it open, leaping through just as the menacing creature lunged towards them. They stumbled and fell, finding themselves back in the comfort of their familiar basement, the heavy wooden door slamming shut behind them. The house fell into an eerie silence once more, while the storm outside continued its relentless fury. Gary and Irene lay on the cold floor, desperately gasping for breath. Tearfully, Irene asked, "What in the world was that place?" Trembling, Gary replied, "I honestly have no idea, but one thing's for certain. We're never setting foot in there again." Determined to conceal the horrors they had witnessed, they hastily pushed the crates back in front of the door, hoping to bury it forever. However, as they turned to leave, a faint whisper reached their ears from the other side, sending shivers down their spines. "I'll be patiently waiting." From that day forward, Gary and Irene avoided the basement like the plague. The old wooden door remained concealed, serving as a silent reminder of the nightmare they had narrowly escaped. Yet, in the dead of night, when the house lay still and the wind howled relentlessly, they could still hear the haunting whispers, promising that one day the door would swing open once again.